Good morning, everybody. I am Stacy with Stacy's Organizing and Decorating for Life. I'm here to help you organize your thoughts and decorate your perspectives. Today our topic is going to be about, I'm going to give you 3 tips to empowerment. How to get started in empowerment. Not just doing these things alone will empower you, but it's a great start, okay? And we just keep things simple. Okay, but before we get started, I just want to do this disclaimer business, is tell you, that I'm not a doctor, a psychologist, a psychiatrist, a scientist, any of those things. What I choose to call myself is a life midwife. I help people navigate through the processes of the rebirth and constructions of their own life where they feel like they may need help in one area or another through my own experiences of growth. So there are ways in the description below, if you want to look into the description box, that you can find out more about me and more about what I do, and I would love to help you too. So let's get started into the video today on what we're going to talk about today, because I appreciate and value your time very much. We are going to talk about, and that's what these videos are all inclined to do, is to help you appreciate and value your time to help us all grow to where we can, connect with our own souls and be connected to each other and have a more peaceful, loving life, okay? So ways to do that is to empower ourselves. And how we empower ourselves first is to realize that we're powerless. We are powerless over people, places, and things, So being able to admit that we are powerless over something, and I'm not just trying to throw 12-step stuff onto you, it's just that that's something that we all can do. I see many people struggle and work with many people in and outside of a recovery process. There's many different recovery processes. And so the first thing is to find what we're powerless over. I've had to realize that I was powerless over chemicals that could be put in my body, whether it be just alcohol or drugs. I was powerless over my relationships, and I think many of us struggle with relationships that watch these videos. Sometimes we're powerless over our food addictions. Sometimes we're powerless over situations that happen in our lives, loss, grief, those things. Those are things that I've had to admit that I was powerless over. And these are things where I had to reclaim my sanity because I felt insane. So in order to get empowered, we have to admit that we are powerless over something. Isn't that crazy that these things can turn around? We would perceive powerlessness as being negative, but we can't become empowered unless we can realize that there are certain limitations that we've either imposed on ourselves or that are imposed on us, and so how we can go and grow from there. So here's 3 steps how you can do that. But first, let me give you the definition of empowerment by Wikipedia. And somebody said to me the other day that everything Wikipedia says is the truth. But this makes perfect sense. It's a degree of autonomy and self-determination in people and commitment that enables us then to represent, that enables us to represent our interest in a responsible and self-determined way, acting on our own authority. When I made this post, I encourage you to follow me on Facebook if you like. I'm just simply staceyreineck. You need to send me a message so I know that you saw this video. There's many people that are surgeons in the military that try to be friends of mine too, and I have to go through and see what's going on. I have to do research. But if you just simply tell me, that you saw one of my videos and that you're, wanting to get more information or what have you, then I can allow you to Stacy Renee. But if you don't want to do that, you can always follow me on Stacy's Organizing and Decorating for Life on Facebook. So I posed the question, the thought the other day of us talking about empowerment. Let me share that with you just a sec. So here it is. It says, the thought of the day for this day in the video this week will be on empowerment. When I think of the word empower, the key word for me is think, thoughts, and the like. Because, right, we're thinking all the time. We're trying to think of how we can manipulate something sometimes. Sometimes we think that gives us power. I'm not saying that it doesn't. I'm just thinking how we can do things with intent of what's the best possible outcome for all involved. That's what I try to express here. Anyway, I thought today empower means in my power, which is just what the definition says, on our own authority, in my power. Realizing the dualities of what we are powerless over gives us the strength to make clear through our thoughts, not that of others, because a lot of people give other people their power, you see, and that's not empowering. It's okay to ask for one person that we really trust, or maybe two or three, what they would do about something, but to be able to make up our own mind. See, because what happens is why people end up resentful is because if they ask a whole group of people, then they do what somebody says, and if it doesn't work out, then they're upset with that person or develop a secret resentment possibly. Or, you know, if they don't develop a secret resentment with that person, they'll have a secret resentment with themselves because they didn't stand in their own power. They chose to make a decision off of what somebody else would do, you know. So we have to go within our soul to make these decisions, or not. So realizing the dualities of what we're powerless over gives us strength. Okay, that what we do have power. So I just said that. Just a thought. You know, so sometimes on my pages I'll ask what you think. I really enjoy the comments, you know, of what people tell me. So again, if you want to do that, that information will be in the comments below. So first, the first thing to, besides admitting we're powerless, that's the obvious thing, that's the untold. The first thing we can do if we want to gain our power back is to quit shooting on ourselves. That shooting on ourselves. Instead, a more empowered way can give you more excellent, and I do take notes because I try to keep this so I don't have to keep recording over and over if I mess up, and because I am, you know, appreciating your time. Instead of a more empowered way, which has excitement, what we tend to do is shoot on ourselves. Now, what's the difference in when we do a more empowered way? This is a better way we can say things. When we do something, we think, you know, and we may think, I should have done this, you know, because we all do that to a degree, is we have regret. And that's what the should energy, the energy of the word should expresses, is regret, you know. So the difference in this is like when we realize that maybe we missed the mark on something, which we're humans and we're going to miss the mark. So when we realize that maybe I didn't, you know, exude exactly what I was trying to exude or express exactly what I was trying to express, then a more positive way that we can talk to ourselves and speak to others that has more confidence and more power in it is if we say, hey, next time I think I want to do this. And then, you know, sometimes we may ask that one, two, or three persons, what do you think? You know, so practice with me. Hey, next time I think I want to do this. Rather than oftentimes when we finish doing something and we have regret, we say, and I've done it, but I had to learn a different way. So I want to express excitement and get others excited about what I want to do. But if I say, I should have done this, you know, then we're still looking at the problem. But when we say get excited, we can be open to the solution, you know, in which the solutions are what bring us power, right? So one sounds more creative and the other is filled with regret. So what kind of energy do you want to express? Do you want to express creativity or do you want to express regret? This gives us a continued energy of excitement, encouraging creativity. And creativity is empowerment. And this is the thing. Whether you should or you express that this is what I want to do next time, it's going to have the same outcome. You're either going to change or not unless you get bogged down in a failure. See, sometimes regret makes people feel like a failure. So this is number 2. We all have failures. We just do. We may cry first, and that's natural, but to keep crying and to keep complaining keeps us defeated. Problem solving with a smile and curiosity. when we problem solve with a smile and curiosity, that exudes a different energy than if we just continue to feeling that failure and keep expressing that failure over and over. That beats ourselves up, and it doesn't give us much confidence. And if we don't exude confidence in ourselves, nobody else will. See, that's the energy that I'm talking about we create. So the problem is that sometimes when we experience a failure, and we all do, we're humans, that we think we are a failure. See, that's not the thing. We are not failures. We have a choice whether we want to continue to think that we are a failure. And I understand that failure causes fear, but fear causes failure too. So don't think I don't understand, because I've been there. But we are not a failure. That may stick with us though, because if we've grown up in a family system to where failure, the word failure and everything else had negative connotations, and there was a fear of failure expressed either through our parents, our caregivers, somebody else, or only just ourselves, or in school, our coaches, or what have you, whether it was pounded into our head that we can't be a failure. I think I've shared before in a video that Michael Jordan said he missed a lot of baskets before he got them, before he started being good at it. So it's all about the practice and development that I've talked about. But it's practice involves us to, even when we miss the mark, to keep going forward, to do it again. So we need to catch ourselves and change our dialogue and quit proving that we are failures. Because if we carry that and don't heal from that and don't understand, and we keep that energy going, it's going to keep growing, and we're going to keep continuing to be a failure. But when we realize that we're human beings, and whatever tapes that we had in the past need to go away, they don't need to last. So we have to remember that as human beings, we are all fallible and miss the mark, and we just have to accept it and move on. I know that it's, sometimes I have a friend who she has done many things, and some of them have been maybe, something that other people wouldn't approve of, but she has this thing. She has risen, and she continues to rise. And I always say that this woman will light a fire under your ass, because she says, do it scared. As long as you've talked to your higher power, if you have one or not, but you've checked your motivations and intentions, and it's going to be for the highest good of all. And it's going to have you expressing with excitement, with curiosity, with, possibilities. Because see, that's what failure leads us to, is different possibilities. Is maybe if this didn't work out, maybe there's a higher and better good. And when we can train our minds to see that, we'll think as we should, right? So she says, do it scared. I'm not saying that if something's unlawful, illegal, or immoral to do it scared. I'm saying what you're doing to follow your heart, to follow your soul, to follow those things that help you gain control. That's empowerment of your own life. You can't control other people's life, but control of your mind is the biggest thing. Because remember, in the post, I talked about our thoughts, what we think. So the last one that I'm going to share with you today is to be teachable. That's number 3. Because once we can realize our failures, we can ask that 3 friends, our top 3 friends, when they say that we're a part of those people, or those problem solvers, have they risen? Those are my heroes. And I'm always asking people who have done what I want to do. I have a sponsor who, she's a psychologist, and I'm open, I'm teachable. So when she makes suggestions to me, I'm like, she'll say, I hope this doesn't bother you. And I'll say, no, I know that you know what you're talking about in this, So to be teachable means that to understand that not everybody's talking down to you. I'm not saying that some people will be talking down to you, but we have to heal so that we don't think everyone is talking down to us, that we are so low that when somebody's talking to us, that they're talking down to us. But I've felt that before, and I had to learn to heal from that, and how to understand that they're just speaking their truth, and sometimes it resonates with me and sometimes it doesn't. But when I'm empowered, I have the power of what I want to take on and what I don't. So be teachable. This is the final one, so let me read you the notes from that. Being teachable helps us to find solutions. I know some very smart people and we can all learn new things. I like to tease that everything that I know about things or know about the world and how, to fix things, I learn here on YouTube. The other day, a real smart friend of mine, she has her law degree, cum laude thing, and she's very smart. And she and I were trying to figure out how to hook up the internet. We were determined not to call one of the guys, the captains of the remote control. So we're like, no. So I told her, and I admire her, her smarts, her intelligence, I wish I was that smart and intelligent sometimes, but we have different kind. We have our own talents and gifts. So she says, how do we do this, Stacey? You're smart. Hook this up. Do you know how to hook this up? I'm like, we got to Google it. We have to YouTube it. They have videos on this. We can do this. And we did it. And we were like, yes, that was empowerment. That gave us confidence. Something just as simple as that. There are so many things here on this channel. I like to read, and I was also looking at, I look at videos on here all the time, and so, but I also like to read. And one person was expressing, that they themselves were arrogant at one time, that they're like, oh, well, I don't have time, because somebody said, well, what are you reading? And they're like, well, I don't have time to read. And they're like, well, that's pretty arrogant. How are you still learning, and such. So even if you don't like to read, and I understand some people don't, but we can get on here. Sometimes I don't have time to read because it takes longer than 15, 20 minutes to read something. Because if I start reading something, if I get 15, 20 minutes into it, then I want to keep reading, right? So there's no excuse for us not to be teachable. If we're not teachable, we ain't reachable. So it come from my daughter. She's 27, and you can put in the comments below what generation that is. But when I would try to ask her about technology, because when she went to school, they learned about technology. I didn't learn, and I did learn in paralegal school about some technology, but I don't retain stuff as long as I used to. So as I would ask my daughter these questions, she'd say, Mom, Google it, just like my friend and I did. So this is where I learned this. We can learn from anyone. We can learn from the younger, the older, everyone in between if we're just open to listen and be teachable. Okay? It's not to say to take everybody's on and be naive. That's just to find those people that have done what you wanted to do, or that instead of being jealous or what have you, find out what makes them work. And I understand the first thought may be jealousy, but then we can turn jealousy to admiration, like I said in last week's video. We don't have to stay stuck in anything out of fear of failure. We don't have to stay stuck in anything out of the shooting on ourselves. So, when we figured out, these things and things for ourselves, this gives us empowerment. This gives us esteem. So being teachable keeps us creative and curious. And we can have smiles and humor about our failures as we pivot with possibilities of a new adventure. And I just want to remind you as we close this video to be nice. And if you're nice, people will want to help you. They'll want to give you information. You can get people on your team. Tony Robbins talks about having a team. And if you do these things, if you're nice, and you do those 3 things to start, you'll be on a new path of empowerment. Okay? So I hope that this video has been helpful. And again, if you'd like to reach out, if you have any ideas for subjects to talk about, topics, what have you, please look in the link below, the information. I want to thank you all who, support this channel and support these videos each and every week and watch or listen to them. And if you're new to this channel, I want to welcome you, and I wish you all much peace and love, and I look forward to connecting to you again next week. Thank you so much for your time.